Surprise, surprise. I'm back. I am Liam from the Hustle Brothers. It's been a long time. It's feeling a little bit weird for me right now. This is Christopher Bell, my co-host. It is Christopher's project, the Haste Club, and we have promised you that we will stream every single launch. Now, guys, I need to address something. Everyone has been reaching out to me, basically inquiring where I was, what was wrong with me. I just can't thank you enough as a community, and I want to thank Chris so much for the support over the last few days. I was incredibly sick, to be fair. It was one of those, Chris, do you know where you're literally in bed and you cannot move, brother? So I'm not going to lie, guys. YouTube, X, everything went out the window at that stage. I couldn't even think of it. I appreciate the support you showed Reese on his video in the VTOLs. But Chris, how are you getting on, brother? Been a long time.
Yeah, welcome back. It'd be a little bit easier. That was definitely interesting. There was a lot of help. There was a lot of help in the community. So thanks again, everyone, for chipping in, helping me navigate the last couple of days. It's never easy going on by yourself. It's always easier to have someone to bounce ideas off of and talk to. So yeah, thanks again for all of that, guys. And yeah, we got a launch coming up. I'm sneaking in an early lunch. I sent the guys off to go get food, and luckily it's about a 30-minute drive to the nearest town. So I've got a little window here to hopefully watch this 66th successful launch for Electron. And yeah, again, thanks for everyone for just joining in. We're gonna have some fun.
Chris, what time is it over with you? I never actually asked you that before the stream.
We are right after 11 o'clock, 10 minutes after 11 a.m.
Yeah, nah, it's what, 4:10 over here. I want to thank you so much, Chris. You've taken an early lunch, and guys, please show your appreciation for Chris. He has taken an early lunch. He's going for a long stint now in the afternoon, but do you know what? I just gave him a quick message, said, look, do you want me to stream the launch? Of course, Chris puts the community first, says we better do it. And then, lo and behold, Chris said, look, I'm coming on with you. Chris, I want to thank you so much. I want to thank you so much for keeping the Haste Club going. I've seen in some of the group chats, we were getting called out. Hustle Brothers sold. Hustle Brothers, where's Hustle Brothers daily? Guys, trust me, if I'm going to just sell and run, it wouldn't be Rocket Lab and go and doing it in. Like, no. Any of the VTOL guys know me. Ever since I started off, Rocket Lab's my biggest position. Also, I live in the Republic of Ireland, so if Chris and Dylan can't get a hold of me, trust me, no random guy from X has got a hold of me, and I've told them that I've sold. Put it that way.
Yeah, we just have to. Whenever people disappear, the first day we all get a little concerned. By day two, we're like, all right, we're just gonna bust his balls. And then because we did the same thing with Francisco, of course. That's just a sign of acceptance and respect. These guys are great in the community, man. They really keep it going for sure.
And a little birdie told me, Francisco has been on a few times. We've had Olga on. Guys, I love it. I love to see it. That's exactly what we want from the Haste Club. That's what makes us different. That's what I think that was the whole vision Chris started off with. He wanted it to be an awful lot more laid back. He wanted it to be the community together, the community all communicating. Look, we said it'll get a bit boring, me and Chris talking to each other every single day. I know you love to hear it from Rocket Lab, but wasn't it great when we got Jacob on? Like, I haven't spoke to you, Chris, since we got Jacob on. That guy's great, isn't he? The information he shared. And again, guys, if you haven't, I know the majority of you here do follow the Haste Club, but if you're new to the Haste Club, there's a great podcast that goes on every Wednesday on Spaces. It's Space Investing, and it's at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Jacob and Brett, Space Investor. They're all great. It's open forum. You can all jump on, have a chat with them. But before Rocket Lab goes live, Chris, I want to wreck your head because I'm back, brother. I want to jump straight to the numbers. Really, look here. People are getting a bit worried. I see us on X, a little pullback happening. Guys, that was always going to happen. We had a bit of the fallout between Trump and Musk, didn't we? It seems like Musk has came out, was it today, and said he believes he went a little bit too far. Guys, trust me. I think if you bring up Jeffrey Epstein, I think it was always going too far. We're not going to get into politics today. You got us into that last week. But Chris, seeing a nice little increase against today, we're at 1.6%. And for everyone that is worried, look, over the 5 day, we're still up 2.38%. Looking over the month, guys, with up 34%, it's an absolutely wild run. And guys, why would I do a runner at 30%? Trust me, not going to happen. Over 6 months, 17.99. Year to date, 8.17. And then again, over the year, it's 502%. Christopher, you've let me get that off my chest, got the numbers off my chest. What are you saying? Do you think this little pullback that's happened was it warranted, or are people just jumping on the bandwagon, getting afraid at the moment from this little setback?
I'm surprised you let me off so easy because you've been gone so long. Last night, the guys kind of, I was distracted, my daughter's soccer game, so I think they took advantage of that, and they just talked all kinds of numbers last night. And it was great. You know, always tease about I don't do the numbers. I don't need to. I have all you guys. But yeah, I don't ever worry about the pullbacks. Again, you know, I was buying at 15, 17, 20, and then I was still buying at all the way down at 4s and 5s. So it's a long-term investment for me. It is for most people that I know in Rocket Lab. Everybody's going to do their trades from here, you know, from day to day. But yeah, it's hard not to watch it daily. It's, you know, I try really hard not to. It's easier this time of year when I'm really busy, so I don't, you know, have the opportunity to sit there and stare at my phone. I do get a lot of messages, so yeah. Anyway, right now I'm still a buyer. You know, not financial advice, but I have a long way to go to where I want to get as far as my share count, and you know, I'm not going to be upset if it goes down a little bit more. It's not going to scare me away, you know, to answer your question. But really quick too, how much longer before this thing's supposed to launch off? I'm just curious because where I'm sitting at, I can't.
So we're looking about 15 minutes time.
Okay.
Can you hear that, guys? Please let me know if you can hear the video. Can you hear that, Chris?
No. Nope.
Nope. That's fine. Still no sound now?
I don't hear any sound.
You know what? It's lovely getting back to streaming, isn't it? I should have had all this set up. I said it to Reese before. It's so wild when you take a few days off. You get like imposter syndrome, and especially when people are calling for you to come back. It's pretty weird.
I don't really know what it's like taking a couple of days off. I've been on here with
dedicated launch for Japanese constellation operator IQPS. My name is Muriel Baker, and I'm joining you from Rocket Lab's Mission Control Center in New Zealand for this mission. Our liftoff time today has been set at 3:31 a.m. local time, and preparations for the mission have run smoothly so far. We're tracking no issues with Electron or range clearance in the lead up to launch. Now, today's mission is called the Mountain God Guards, and it's our latest launch for the Institute of Kyushu Pioneers of Space. Electron will be headed to a 575-kilometre low Earth orbit to deploy the next satellite in their constellation that provides synthetic aperture radar imagery. It's our 4th time heading to space for IQPS and the 3rd time this year, with the latest mission deployed a little over 3 weeks ago and another launched earlier in mid-March. We've got 8 missions on the books in total for IQPS, and while we're all about making space access routine, it doesn't mean our mission names have to be. And we've been working to a theme of honouring Japanese gods for each IQPS mission on Electron, depending on the nickname of each satellite that is determined by their orbital inclination. So today's satellite is known as Yamatsumi-1 for the Japanese god of the mountains who watches overall, a nice little tie-in to its Earth monitoring capabilities. And then last month's launch was the sea god Seas, and the one in March was for the lightning god Rains, all kicked off by our first IQPS launch called the Moon God Awakens. And you saw a little sneak peek at what our next mission patch will be for the next IQPS launch. So there you go, a little bit of mission patch trivia for today's mission. Right now, though, we are at T-minus 13 minutes and counting on the clock. The team is getting ready to launch Electron right on time for its scheduled liftoff at 3:31 a.m. And we've got liquid oxygen propellant continuing to flow through the vehicle's first and second stage tanks. Looking nice and full there from the frosty white buildup of ice on the outside of those tanks that you can see from afar. And very soon, our launch director for the mission will run through the go, no-go poll with the operators in mission and range controls. They'll check in with the launch director on everything from the payload status to the rocket's environmental conditions and its propellant tank levels through to whether the skies will remain clear at liftoff. And we are just a few moments away from that poll kicking off from mission control. Let's bring up the audio now and listen in.
To all operators, we are proceeding with the go, no-go sequence. Stage.
Stage is go.
Avionics.
Avionics is go.
GNC.
GNC is go.
VCON.
VCON is go.
T1.
T1 is go.
GC.
GC is go.
PLS.
PLS is go.
RSO.
RSO is go.
MET.
MET is go.
MM.
MM is go.
LD-SUP.
LD-SUP is go.
The go, no-go sequence is complete. We are T-minus 11 minutes and 24 seconds and counting. We are go for terminal count auto sequence at T-minus 10 minutes. From this time, the 3-word procedure is in effect.
Looking good so far, Chris. Can you still hear me, brother? I know there's
All right, there we are. Exactly what we wanted to hear from the launch team. We are go across all stations in mission control and range control down in Mahia. We're not tracking any issues with the rocket or pad systems. IQPS's payload is healthy, and the weather has treated us well so far and is expected to keep doing so at liftoff, so no concerns there either. Everything is ready to go with the clock now at T-minus 10 minutes and 45 seconds and counting. Now, of course, there is plenty of preparation that takes place in the lead up to every Electron launch. Now, operations for this one began late last night that have obviously carried through to the wee hours of this morning. So let's take a look at what it takes to prepare our rocket for liftoff.
The countdown to launch is the most closely watched clock in mission control. Here are some of the things that take place at each milestone after the countdown begins. At T-minus 9 hours before launch, our crew are on site at Launch Complex 1 to configure the pad for launch and prepare to power on Electron for the day's operations. Meanwhile, our operators in mission control start checking in to their stations. At T-minus 7 hours, our operators will brief the launch director with a status update. Mission Control also receives its first weather check on what to expect at liftoff, including cloud cover and predicted wind speed at Launch Complex 1. Now, at T-minus 6 hours, our ground tracking stations begin to power up before Electron is prepared to go vertical on the pad. Soon afterward, Electron's Rutherford engines are tested with a short burst of engine fire to confirm all systems are operating as they should. At T-minus 5 hours through T-minus 3 hours, Our range safety team runs through safety status checks for those on and around our launch complex on the peninsula, making sure the team and the public are kept safe during the day's launch attempt. Fuel loading of kerosene will soon begin on Electron, while additional vertical systems checks take place and the pad is evacuated. It's T-minus 3 hours now, and soon liquid oxygen will begin to flow into Electron. As the rocket slowly fills with this oxidizer, Electron's black body turns white as humidity in the air around the rocket freezes into a thin sheet of ice due to the freezing temperatures of the liquid oxygen inside. With 1 hour left to launch, it's crunch time for our operators. Vehicle cameras are switched to their launch settings. Our avionics team enables Electron for flight. Our final weather brief comes through, and the range safety status will confirm that the area is clear for launch. With 12 minutes left in the count, our launch director runs the go, no-go poll with our operators to make the final decision to proceed with the launch. All final checks are completed before we reach T-minus 2 minutes in the countdown. At this critical point, the countdown auto sequence begins and Electron's flight computers take over. The launch director begins counting down to liftoff from T-minus 10 seconds before the engines ignite 3 seconds before launch, and Electron lifts off the pad at T0 on its way to complete its next mission with the satellites on board.
So obviously plenty of work is involved in getting every one of our rockets and its launch pad ready for its next mission to space. And every step of the way in that process involves a fantastic member of the Rocket Lab team. And if you'd like to join them, we are always hiring. So check out some of the jobs going in launch operations on our website, rocketlabcorp.com. Come help us launch even more missions like this one.
Guys, chat's absolutely hopping. Love to see it, guys. We're going to be running another Haste Club live tonight where anyone can call in. If you want to call in, you can either let me know on the stream, or if you reach out to either myself, Christopher Bell, or Dylan Rogers on X, we'll be happy to have you on. Chris, can you hear me again, or has your audio gone?
Hear you.
Oh, you can hear me, yeah?
Yeah.
Chris, this community you've built, my God, yeah, I left and it felt like hardly anyone was engaging. Come back and people are like ants, brother. What have you been feeding everyone?
I didn't do it, man. I just kind of drug along with me. They welcomed me in. Why not, man? It's just more fun in numbers.
Now, who have we got here? We have, we've an awful lot. So we have Space Grizzles. Look, Chris, it's all fixed. We have comments coming through X now again.
There we go. That's the strong back you can see retracting from Electron there in preparation for launch. Now, after today's mission, we have another 4 missions for IQPS launching on Electron this year and next. And each one is to deliver the latest QPS SAR satellite to orbit that will build out the company's synthetic aperture radar, or SAR, Earth imaging constellation. Now, SAR works a bit differently to other satellites that take pictures of Earth. The radar in synthetic aperture radar describes how the satellite sends out radio waves from space and listens for the echoes that bounce back from Earth. And surfaces like forests, buildings, and water reflect those waves differently. And the satellite and its constellation collects those measurements to stitch together one large, clear picture. Now, SAR is particularly useful for being able to see, even at nighttime or through clouds, for consistent coverage over a specific area. And IQPS is planning for a constellation of up to 36 of these SAR satellites in total. And it's great to be able to support them to build it out over 4 missions to date, the ones to come, and, of course, today's launch of the Mountain God Guards. And we are all about delivering trusted and reliable access to space for small satellite operators, especially for constellation developers like IQPS, because building out a constellation requires control over when a satellite is launched and where it's being deployed to, so that the constellation can really be fully optimized for the mission, and that's exactly what Electron was created to provide. Now, demand for that has grown across the industry, and our Electron launch cadence has really picked up as a result. 2025 is shaping up to be one of our busiest launch years ever, and the launch site at the center of that, of course, has been Launch Complex 1. Now, our launch site features 2 launch pads, Pad A, where Electron will be taking off from this morning, and Pad B, right next door, which is where our next mission will fly from. The dual pad setup is all about minimizing the pad recycle time that's needed between launches from the same platform. So with 2 launch pads on site, we reset one while we launch from the other, which is what makes the possibility of back-to-back missions so good. Now, our quickest turnaround yet, though, happened to be not from these 2 pads at LC1, but from LC1 and our Launch Complex 2 site on Wallops Island, Virginia, where we flipped 2 launches within 24 hours from opposite sides of the world. Now, our pad for Electron missions and hypersonic test flights on our Haste rocket is located within the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport on Virginia's eastern shore, and is set to see plenty of action in the months to come too. And of course, there is our brand new launch site for our new rocket Neutron, positioned right next door to Launch Complex 2. That's set to be completed and officially opened soon, ahead of Neutron's debut flight. Today, though, it is Launch Complex 1's time to shine yet again as we get closer and closer to that T0 liftoff time on the countdown clock. So now just over 3 minutes away from launch, and we are about to enter terminal count at T-minus 2 minutes. And that's when all of the final vehicle and pad systems checks are conducted by Electron autonomously. Our launch operators will voice those checkouts across the audio channels along the way. So let's turn the volume up and listen in as Electron rolls through the countdown.
Are we going to get go for launch, Chris?
Yeah, we look good,
man. Go for auto sequence start at T-minus 2 minutes.
And LD is go for launch.
Positivity, man. Positivity.
What time do you want to stream Haste Club later?
I'll contact you. I got a couple more hours out here and over an hour. Yeah. I'll contact you when I'm driving home.
For sure, brother. Now, guys, please let me know if you want a VTOL weekly tonight as well.
AFTS is green and enabled for flight.
Everyone's saying you're echoing, Chris. I can't hear the echo. Is it every time I unmute my mic, Chris echoes, or is it echoing for you all the time, guys?
Complete system is in recirculation.
Yeah, I didn't have an echo going live before we went live. Now I do.
Anti-geysering is disabled. Stage 1 and 2 tanks are pressed for flight.
High flow engine purge enabled.
T-minus 20 seconds and counting. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Beginning pitch off.
Stage 1 propulsion nominal.
Again, guys, until Miko and
we are
stage
on
separation.
our way to space for IQPS, a beautiful ascent from Electron, clear against the night sky for its 66th launch. Now watch as those speed and altitude dials continue to climb up as we come up against maximum aerodynamic pressure shortly. We're now at T plus 53 seconds and counting into flight, so that call out for max Q should be heard soon across the nets.
Clear to max Q.
That's max Q confirmed, and Electron is continuing nominally now about a minute or so away from staging, and Miko on the first stage. So we're going to see all 9 of those Rutherford engines on the bottom of the first stage shut down, and then very quickly after that, the first stage will be released by the separation locks on the vehicle. Straight away, we should see the second stage Rutherford engine light up to push Electron and its payload away and onward to orbit, just a few moments away from that now.
Curtis, have they ever had a problem at the battery hot swap?
Propulsion holding nominal. Stand by for Miko in roughly 30 seconds.
No, not that I know of.
"15 seconds to staging.
Insert burnout detect mode.
Miko confirmed.
Stage separation confirmed.
Stage separation confirmed.
That is a healthy Rutherford engine startup on the second stage now that we are clear of first stage Miko and stage separation. Electron's altitude now is sitting at over 95 kilometers above Earth, boosting along at more than 8,000 kilometers an hour. And everything is going very well so far for this mission. Now, up next is fairing separation, when the 2 halves of Electron's nose cone separate and fall away. And that should be coming up very soon now.
Is this the first time they've had sound in their cameras?
No. I think there's. We'll talk later tonight. I think there's a little bit of some issue. I've got a sound issue on my end. I don't know if it's from my location and it's feeding off of me, or
confirmed.
Awesome. Or if it's coming from your end. And we'll
Ava
correct that.
Exactly as planned. There goes those fairing halves from Electron, and hello to QPS SAR 11 on your screen there, safely integrated to the kick stage on top of the second stage as it continues on to our 575 kilometer target orbit.
Yeah, no, that's definitely coming from the engine.
Yeah, we look good to go there, man.
5 minutes or so of engine burn time for this stage 2 Rutherford left to go. And it takes absolute precision and control from our guidance system for the second stage to keep it on the path to orbit. And our engineers have to take into account the Earth's rotation, the forces of gravity, resistance against the vehicle, and the angle it should be oriented to carry the kick stage to a nominal transfer orbit. Now, Electron is programmed to make any adjustments needed along the way, but so long as those 2 lines on your screen for our planned and actual trajectory are closely aligned, then the mission remains in the clear.
Awesome, man. Hey, you guys hate, I hate to cut myself short, but I am going to get back to work. I'd love to stick around longer. Thanks again, Liam, for doing this. We will talk again soon, my friend. And I will. I'll see all you guys later in just a couple hours. Thanks again, Liam.
Yeah, for sure, Chris. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. I'll speak to you later for a Haste Club. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna fix up this mic, whatever the bollocks is wrong with it. I haven't streamed in a few days, so I reckon it's just the settings on the microphone itself. But I reckon the feedback's coming from me. Guys, let me know if there's still feedback coming from me now, or has it got any better?
HVB discharge holding nominal, approaching hot swap in roughly 30 seconds.
Throttling down.
Battery jettison confirmed.
Confirm hot swap successful.
A seamless battery hot swap there for the Rutherford engine, continuing on bright and beautiful past 240 kilometers in altitude now. And we've got about 2.5 minutes left in this engine burn before the second stage reaches the nominal transfer orbit to separate the kick stage.
Thank you for the feedback, guys. Sorry that my mic was playing havoc with us today. I don't believe that was Christopher's fault. I believe it was my mic giving the feedback from him. Haven't streamed in a few days, and I'm not going to lie, it's been absolutely wild.
HVB discharge holding nominal.
The trajectory that Electron is traveling along right now will carry the second stage and the kick stage to an elliptical orbit of Earth. And this serves as a staging point for the final orbital insertion that is needed from the kick stage to place the IQPS satellite on a circular path. But before the kick stage can do its thing, it needs to be separated and sent on its way once the second stage closes out. And we're still a few moments away from that shutdown, but it is coming up shortly.
What I was going to say is, for any of you guys that weren't here at the start of the stream, I have been off for a few days, been sick as a pig, not going to lie. Not even Chris and Dylan could get hold of me. Reese himself made a video that was quite good in relation to eVTOL, so anything to do with Archer and Joby.
All right, not long now until SECO and stage separation for this mission. And the process for both is much the same as what went down with Electron's first stage separation and main engine cutoff. Only this time it involves shutting down the Rutherford you can see on our screen for second engine cutoff, and then separation of the kick stage from the second stage. Now, that second stage shutdown is a carefully controlled and planned event to make sure that the kick stage's velocity and position are exactly where they need to be for the next phase of the mission. And we can expect to hear 1 or 2 callouts from Mission Control as they monitor the guidance systems for that. Let's listen in now.
SECO confirmed.
Stage separation confirmed.
Nominal transfer orbit achieved.
Great call out there from Mission Control. That is SECO confirmed for the second stage, with the kick stage now successfully separated to its transfer orbit with the QPS SAR-11 satellite for IQPS. Both have a bit of a journey ahead of them as the kick stage and the satellite go for a
Thanks for
coast
coming,
around the
Curtis,
Earth
bravo.
before the kick stage can ignite its own propulsion system to perform the final maneuvers that place the payload on orbit. So we've got about 40 minutes or so until that takes place, but we are not done yet. We're going to take a bit of a break now, so go and grab a coffee and enjoy the relaxing tunes of our good friend Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. And I hope I'll see you back here to close out the mission with payload deployment soon.
Right, guys, 66, more or less successful. You know what Electron's like after this stage. Now, guys, I thought it'd be interesting now if we just had a little bit of a chat, just because at the Hustle Brothers, you don't normally get me on my own streaming. So if you've just come in for the launch, now probably will be your time to drop off, because I'm going to talk Rocket Lab. I'm going to talk a little bit Archer and Joby, but it'll be mostly Rocket Lab. So I have been sick over the last few days, as some of you are fully aware. I more or less went AWOL. Dylan and Chris couldn't get a hold of me. Olga, I want to thank you so much for reaching out as well, and the same to you, Curtis. It's unbelievable. We even had Matt Money himself concerned about where we were. So I want to thank you guys for all that. But what I want to more or less say is, look, you guys fully aware we're doing the Haste Club daily live, and that was Christopher's idea. Christopher created the whole concept of the Haste Club and doing lives daily, getting feedback from the community and growing into this Rocket Lab space. Now, what I kind of want to do, I want to add a little bit more to the community. So you know what the Hustle Brothers, what we do, we're not specialists in absolutely anything. If anything, we're the jack of all trades and master of none. But what we do, we relay everything back to the average retail investor. Be dead honest with you, there's 48 of you here. I am an average, everyday working man. I am no multi-millionaire, big stock investor like you'll get on the majority of YouTube. But what we like to do, we like to get information from all the specialists and relay it back to you. So that's why we get the likes of Jacob on, we get the likes of Francisco on. You've seen us, we be talking to some CEOs on the NASDAQ, Harvard CEO Brandon Robinson. But I want to sort of adapt it to Rocket Lab. Same with any of you guys that follow us with eVTOLs. We're starting to ramp up too, and it's more or less, at the moment, it is Reese's baby. He is growing out that eVTOL space while I concentrate heavily in Rocket Lab and trying to establish ourselves in there. But what we're trying to do is, I want you guys to jump in with any sort of ideas you have, any sort of content you would like, or any sort of project you'd like us to take on. You've seen we're doing the daily. We're going to continue doing that. But look, we have an awful lot of time in our hands. My job's quite flexible. I can jump on a stream absolutely whenever. You'll be wondering why I am streaming at what, 4:30 in the day, but I've taken on a new job and it's a lot easier for me. But what my vision of this, potentially want to create a podcast where all different members of the community can talk, basically like a Rocket Lab fan club, where we have 4 or 5 new guys in there every week bashing their ideas about Rocket Lab. That'd be completely separate to Rocket Lab Daily. We then, I wouldn't mind doing like a monthly roundup. I tested it twice, a monthly roundup where we more or less go over absolutely everything Rocket Lab over the last month, see where we're going. It's a lot more factual than the likes of the Haste Club. In the Haste Club, it's a lot more laid back. We like to sit back and let our brains run wild. We like to come up with conspiracies on different projects Rocket Lab are taking on. We like to join the dots together. With the Rocket Lab Monthly, it'd more or less be the facts on everything that's happened out of this month. Where can we see it going? There'll be a lot more figures involved in this. And I've noticed it's been quite nice. Reese done a video recently, Archer and Joby, comparing the financials. And that sort of went down a treat. And then it sort of got me thinking, maybe more of you would like to see a lot more figures. I know we say on the Haste Club we don't talk figures, but is that something you'd like the Haste Club to bring? Like we could do it once a week, where we do go through financials, go through figures. We could get the likes of Jacob on if he wanted to come on, or we could get anyone that's a specialist on it. You'll be on with me, so there's no need to be nervous. Olga, actually, do you want to call in tonight? I heard Chris say you had really good thoughts in the last Haste Club. I actually haven't listened to it. How bad of a member am I to the Haste Club? What I want to do, I want to jump back to the comments and see what we're saying. So we have Julie. Julie, welcome back. Thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting the Haste Club, and thank you for being there for Chris. Do you know what? It's hard streaming on your own. I've only ever done about 4 or 5 of them on my own, so I can't imagine what it's like, Chris, having to take on this whole project after you seeing it with a load of us on it. So I want to thank him. Later, Curtis. Goodbye, Arch. Do you know what? Curtis has gone big into archery, and he's more or less buying it daily now. Curtis, when you listen back to this, make sure you come to eVTOL Weekly, even if you want to call in. We're on eVTOL Weekly episode 19, I think, at this stage. It's wild. It's nearly 6 months old. And I want to thank Dylan Rogers for that. Dylan Rogers was the one that more or less inspired us for this. June, you're always here. Love to see you. Olga, Julie, love it. Midwest Cannabis, great launch as usual. DJ DT, Hover CEO, it was good, wasn't it? What I really liked with Brandon, he was more or less an open book. I want to be dead honest, I was quite pessimistic about Hover. About anyone that doesn't know who a Hover is, it's New Horizon Aircraft. So they're basically an electric aircraft company, and they're going over long distances. So it's anything up to 800-kilometer range. If you compare that to Archer and Joby, who have about a 215 to 240 range, it's completely different. It's a lot more long-haul flight, and it's a hybrid aircraft. Bit late to the Rocket Lab, but finally jumped in on its dip. Guys, you're calling it a dip, but if we actually take a stand back, we'll jump back to this video now in a minute. But like, over the past month, we're still up 34%. And over the past 5 days, we're up 2.38%. So we're not actually dipping too much if you actually take a look back. Sometimes I like to take a look at the long horizon. I'm in this for the next 10. I can see 20 years. Look, I have a long time ahead of me left investing. And look, I'm nowhere near as big into the positions as some of you guys. Again, I like to say I am a average retail investor. Bright side, I am right there with you. Didn't get in around the lows, but sure. But feeling good that I am in now. Dylan, it's absolutely amazing because like we just started talking about Rocket Lab and you're just getting further and further in. I think the guys loved you on Haste Club. Just the insight you bring as a new investor, but it's how far you dive into the analytics. And I think you would be a great man to have leading a project like a Rocket Lab Financial Weekly. Look, I'll be there with you as well, but Dylan, let me know if that's something you'd want to do. Anyone that doesn't know, Dylan is one of the Hustle Brothers as well, so make sure to give him a follow. And guys, there's, 50 of you here. Make sure to bang the subscribe button. We're trying to grow into this Rocket Lab space. It's a little bit intimidating at the moment because you have all the big players in this game. We're only entering this space at the moment. Look, I've been invested in Rocket Lab ever since, it was late 23, I believe. Look, we've been there in the lows. We were there with the failed Electron, where the stage separation failed, and we had that arc. We were there when we sold them warrants. So, look, we're here through the highs and the lows. Olga, me, lol. We're famous. Building a great community here, Liam. Great job. Nah, Dylan, it's up to you and Chris, to be fair. Look, I went AWOL for a while, so it's completely down to you guys. And Chris, I can't believe the vision he had with this Haste Club. I can't believe it hasn't been really done before. This daily is a bit of a challenge, but look, I believe between the community we've built now will always be able to keep this daily, whether it's one of us three on it or whether it's the likes of Jacob, Francisco. Look, you're all part of the Haste Club, guys. You never have to be invited on. That is one thing about the Haste Club. We're never going to close it out. It's an open invitation to absolutely everyone. Guys, who wants Star Trek Girl on? I've actually reached out to her. She's open to coming on. I think I have to give her a little bit of notice, and her insight is absolutely amazing. But what I'd really love to do is sort of balance the numbers when it comes to males and females, just because, look, it'd be great to have a different perspective on all sorts. Everyone around the world, doesn't matter who you are. I know this space, this whole investing space seems to be quite heavily dominated by males. And what I want to do, I want to grow a lot more female creators in the space. Because, look, have you seen Star Trek Girl's videos? They're next level. She's one of the OG. She's been there since the start. She actually inspired us to create our eVTOL channel. And look, doors always open for her in absolutely any video we make, whether it's eVTOL, whether it's Haste Club. Love it. VACNC OND has finally hit up 2x for me. RCAT and UMAC doing great. I'm telling you, it's worth to look into these drones and new exact. You guys really want me to look at drones, don't you? The only proper drones I really looked at, and they were more of a UAV, shall we say, it was Edge Autonomy, and they've been taken over by Redwire. Look, if I get enough of you together and you want us to start focusing on drones, something we can bring to eVTOL Weekly, or do you want its own separate live stream? Please let me know, because we have a lot more time on our hands now. We didn't leave Chris alone. We were all jumping in, holding it down for you guys. No pressure, but we kept your daily going. Francisco, I can't thank you enough. The information you provide us, I actually jumped in text. I want to completely apologize to you. I jumped in text. The amount of articles you have sent me over the past few days, and you're even sending them when I wasn't around responding. It shows the commitment you have, and I'll make sure to deep dive into all them. And trust me, tonight's going to be an exciting Haste Club. Guys, let me know, how did you find out about Haste Club? Did you just stumble across it on X, or were you following Chris before? Or are you recently into Rocket Lab now? Executive orders. Got hacked, so new X account has the 11 after the names. Dylan is Dylan 11. Not a selfish plug, but just want to give an updated account. That's right. Dylan account got hacked. So his new X, make sure you're following his new X. Dylan is Dylan 11. He is one of the Hustle brothers. He's actually a great man for if you need to get ideas across to us and we you can't get through to us. You go through Dylan. Dylan speaks to us on the daily. He's always open to making his own videos. And look, I want to get Dylan a lot more involved as a Hustle brother, as in Dylan potentially will have his own shows, his own streams, because the guys seem to absolutely love the content you're pushing out, brother. And I actually think you in definitely an eVTOL dedicated stream, but I genuinely think a Rocket Lab Financials or even a Rocket Lab beginner stream would be quite good. Look, you don't have to do it alone. Any of us can jump on with you, but I think if you led it, I actually think it'd be wild. Hit me up in DMs if you want to do something like that. And I know it's a little bit weird me talking to you through a stream, but look, we're an open book here. I think everyone knows by now we're not your typical YouTubers. We like to do everything live and talk. Allcat is good. Redwire stock also doing very well weekly. Yeah, I think that's to do with the Edge Autonomy. They're doing a vote on the Edge Autonomy at the moment. Guys, let me know if there's much more happening with Redwire. I'm invested a little bit into Redwire, but I don't keep an eye on it enough. I don't stay up to date, and I know that is completely bad investment. That's why you do not follow a hustle brother when it comes to investment advice. Look, guys, we'll never tell you when to buy or sell. You're only here to follow our journey, and we're here to get all the specialists on board. Basically, you're here to see, can we actually make it as an average retail investor? Can we make it to a nice amount of wealth? I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say, look, I'm not here to make money. Guys, as an investor, I think we're all here to make money. Again, we don't care whether you have one share. Don't care if you have no shares, really. Or if you have 1 million shares. Everyone's opinion to us is valued the same. If you come with receipts, or even if you just come with a conspiracy, we love to hear it on Haste Club. Guys, some of the conspiracies we have are absolutely wild, and you're probably laughing at us, but isn't it nice sometimes sit down with a cup of tea, a beer, or anything like that, and just hear us ramble on? And look, none of our stuff is absolutely far-fetched. We always come with receipts for it. We don't just make up some absolute bollocks. Hover at 133 now. I'm going to be honest with you, DJ. Hover, I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love Brandon Robinson himself as CEO, and me and Reese said it when we interviewed him. He's basically like someone you could take to the pub. He is amazing, chatty. He's an open book, tell you absolutely everything about the company. But I don't know, to me, is it just too risky me jumping in at such an early stage in the company? I feel like Archer and Joby are early enough when it comes to the VTOL space. So why do I want to keep growing in another player when the big giants haven't done it yet, if you get me? But look, we'll talk about it in VTOL Weekly. People here for Rocket Lab. It would be good if you guys had a discussion on drone executive order. It includes a lot of red meat for VTOLs as well. I stumbled across you guys while researching Archer and Joby. You guys pulled me into Haste Club. Thank you so much, brother. Are you invested in Rocket Lab, or is it just of interest, or have you started investing recently into it? Look, first, since you've actually asked me a few times about drones, so look, we're going to cover it on eVTOL Weekly. Hopefully tonight. I'm trying to get in contact with Reese. If Reese can do a eVTOL Weekly tonight, I am open to doing one. If not, if Dylan's free, I wouldn't mind doing one with Dylan as well. If not, it's going to be a back-to-back for me. But look, if you guys really want it, I'll do a back-to-back for it. If you guys can manage to report multiple sectors, it will benefit you and everyone. I do tech, AI, quantum, and eVTOL stocks right now. Brightstone, that's actually... It's a big commitment, but look, what we try and do Rocket Lab, and we're then covering the eVTOL side. Project we've taken on with Rocket Lab right now is quite intense. But look, if there's something that really excites us, the Hustle Brothers, the Haste Club, are always open to new ideas and new projects. However, I do know we seem to have put out less content on eVTOLs now, and Reese is starting to ramp that up. But if it's something you guys are still biting out for, I'll jump back across and we'll do some more eVTOL content. However, Reese really wants to do a few Rocket Lab videos too. So guys, let me know any ideas you want on Rocket Lab content as a recorded video. Do you want it financial? Do you just want the Hustle Brothers' thoughts? Do you want the Haste Club's thoughts on it? Please let me know. Redwire up 59% over a month, 98% over 3. Redwire, the only thing with Redwire, it's sold off quite a bit. So that 98% is a bit of a false reading unless you got in within the last 3 months. Look, we took, I'd say, about a 98% drop as well, brother. So I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say, look, Liam's up 98% because Liam is not up 98%. I bought in, and I told you at the time, it was around the Edge Autonomy acquisition. I bought into Redwire, and it must be more or less around the all-time high. I think I put out a video, is it one of my worst trades of all time? So I bought Redwire, Rocket Lab, and Nvidia all at the all-time high, and then next thing, catapulted. But look, it's all right. I'm good to go live today if you're down. Just let me know what time you'd like to start. Robot, it's a date. Guys, when do you want us to do an eVTOL? Wait there. I know Chris was looking around 11 o'clock for Haste Club my time. I don't know what that is for you. That's about, what, 2 hours after closing bell. Dylan, we could go live around 9:30 my time or 10 o'clock my time, which would be about an hour after closing bell. How does that suit you, brother? I have 70 shares of Rocket Lab, 26.81 average price. Late to the party that, look, I said it to Dylan himself. I wouldn't actually get bogged down on whether you're early, late. Sometimes you're actually better investing in a company. I think it was Buffett that said it. That sometimes you're better investing in at a higher price, knowing the information is solid. Look, when we were investing at $4, $5, there was still an awful lot up in the air. We didn't really have much in substance when it came to Neutron. We were after having Electron having a failure. We didn't, if I remember, we didn't have the Space Force contract, and Haste was more or less only starting to ramp out. So guys, look, sometimes you're better having the information there and investing then, because it's a lot safer bet than it was back when it was 4. And as well, we can all say, like, I wish I invested in Tesla at $2, but like UMAC is my largest holding. They're building a US drone motor factory. That's interesting. I actually haven't looked into that, and that would probably surprise you considering how big we are in the VTOL industry, but I didn't know that. 532 average. Might look into UMAC. 1 hour after bell is perfect for me. Guys, let me know who's going to be here for Haste Club live tonight. Show me a bit of love. I need a little bit of motivation to do a back-to-back stream when it comes to eVTOL Weekly and then Haste Club. So jump in and let me know. UMAC may fall in the coming weeks. They jumped a bit, not investment advice. And look, that's the exact thing we want to grow here at the Haste Club. Share your thoughts, share why you think so. But look, nothing is investment advice. Vast, I really appreciate your opinion though. Guys, what does everyone think about this? Where Rocket Lab signed their agreement with Nikon for the next generation ultra large metal AM platform. From my understanding, this is a more or less a bigger, better version of 3D printing that we used very heavily on the manufacture of, or the manufacturing rollout of Neutron. Look, quite a few of the Rutherford engine parts. If I remember, don't get me wrong, I need Chris here for this, but is the Rutherford completely 3D printed? I don't think so. I think the majority of it is 3D printed. But look, they've done it with Rutherford. Can they do it with Archimedes? This is more or less what I believe this is about. It's about upscaling their ability for Neutron. They are already working with them. Rocket Lab have others of their machines. Jacob, thank you so much, brother. Jacob, when are you free next? I loved streaming with you last night. Me and Chris were actually talking about it. You were absolutely amazing. Brother, we'd love to have you on numerous times. And again, guys, please jump into the comments and help me convince Jacob to make a YouTube channel, because he is too good not to have a YouTube channel, whether it's Rocket Lab, whether it's ASTS. Look, Jacob, we really want your thoughts across on YouTube. I know you found it a little bit weird with the stream software we're using, but you can stream it between YouTube and X at the same time. So that way you can continue to grow out on X, but you can also have your YouTube as well. You're already using them for the Archimedes engine. Thank you, brother. 3 most days I'm retired. Oh, mate, I am actually so jealous. Do you know what? The fact you're retired, come over to and we'll do a trip round. We'll have a few beers. We'll watch a few of these streams, brother. But nah, congrats on being retired. YouTube and Spaces. Ooh, I actually don't know. Can you do it in Spaces? You can definitely stream videos to X, but I don't know about Spaces. I'd actually have to look at that for you. Fire me a DM across. When I'm setting up Haste Club for later, I will see if I can do it through a Spaces as well, because if you can do it through a Spaces, that's actually quite interesting. Only issue is the open discussion part, but I'll think about it. DM me. Yeah, 100%, brother. Yeah, I really like your format on the open discussion. That's something. That's the only thing we're missing here at the Haste Club. I know when Chris does it on Spaces, but then I feel like we're missing out on the actual visual aspect of it. Could be cool to maybe have a Spaces, and if one of us stream through Spaces at the exact same time, I don't know how that would work, but we're gonna find a solution, brother. We're gonna get you on YouTube. You're too good not to have on there, guys. I am not sure how much longer we have left on the 8-year review. I am probably gonna, after me saying I don't have to run for work all the time, but I probably will have to run back to work. I can't take the absolute biscuit, put it that way. Oh, also, this is a bit of a random one, yeah. It's hatching and curving season for me at the moment. So for any of you that don't know, I have a farm as well, and look, I'm obsessed with animals. Did any of you ever see that video I done about the 2-hump camel? That's a bit funny. I actually might share that on X after this stream. So I actually done a stream. It was a stock stream. I think it was about Archer or something like that. But I told a story about a 2-hump camel and how I always wanted to meet one. And then I sort of brought you through the story. And then at the end, you get to see live footage of me meeting a 2-hump camel. Bit of a random one. But yeah, it's hatching and curving season. So guys, if you want me to do true Haste Club fashion and come on live with chicks and calves later, that could be pretty cool, couldn't it? Something you don't see every day on a investment channel. I also want to say the 69 of you here listening to me ramble on, make sure to bang that subscribe button on YouTube. We have a goal we set with one of our followers, Cole. Some of you might know him from Matt Money Streams. Cole. We have a goal to get to 5,000 subscribers by September. Look, it was an absolute madness. It was set in the middle of a after party on a earnings call, I think. But we're trying to grow out into that space. We're trying to sort of establish ourselves in both Rocket Lab and look, we are one of the biggest eVTOL channels on YouTube, but we want to just keep expanding. I don't know if I've ever told you how I became a YouTuber. We used to follow quite a big investment channel. I think I let it out of the bag on one of my videos who it was. But look, I was emotional at the time. Well, I'm not going to name him. We did follow one. I was a bit of a pump and dumper. I'm not going to lie on that. And I remember my dad saying to me, you could do that yourself. And I remember, no, we couldn't. Me and Reese used to ring each other every day. And I don't know what it was. We were like, why don't we just like create a project where we talk about that? And then we're like, look, we ring each other every day anyway. So why don't we just record it, see how it goes, see how people react to it? And yeah, it went from there. It just built out from there. Then we got speaking to many people. I know some people were taking the mick in the investment chat that have the Hustle Brothers stop doing daily. No, we haven't stopped doing daily. I think Dylan will vouch for that. We done eVTOL videos daily, every day for, I'd say about 8 months straight. If you look at our channel's only a year old. We have 450 videos. So don't worry about our ability to do it daily. I was pretty sick though, and Chris did do a good job. But make sure you bang that subscribe button, guys. Also, our X is absolutely tiny. Guys, if you haven't followed the Hustle Brothers on X, it's at the Hustle Brothers YT. Please make sure to follow us on X. We're absolutely tiny in comparison to any of the content creators out there. I think it's just because we don't push it enough. I try, but sometimes I find it better to come on a video or on a stream than to share my thoughts on X. But to be fair, if you want me to start sharing more of my actual thoughts on X, let me know. And guys, for any of you that don't know, that's the other original Hustle Brother. That's Reese stuff. Jacob's helping me out at the Hustle Brothers YT. Also, guys, stay up to date with the Haste Club. With 42 people in there, there's 68 in the stream at the moment. This should be at 68 by the time I end the stream. Just saying. I'm going to let this run on a little bit longer. But if it goes any longer, I probably will have to come off, guys. Love to see the new day job in action. 100%, brother. You know well. And the stock took a dive for no reason. What's stock at now, brother? Look, are you particularly worried? 0.26%. It actually wouldn't bother me if it goes down to 25, 24. To be fair, look, I don't mad look at the charts at the moment. I can bring a few charts up if that's something you'd want, but look, I take some of that with a pinch of salt. Sorry, wrong handle. Don't worry, brother. We're laid back here. Yeah, trust me, launch day. Thanks for streaming, Liam. Taking a break now. How long you going for today? How long am I going for today? This is going to be over in the next few minutes. We're going to be back with eVTOL Weekly. eVTOL Weekly is normally about an hour and a half long. Haste Club, you know, Haste Club can go anything from an hour to 2, to be fair. I haven't seen my guys in a long time. I have a lot to share, and I've more or less promised Chris that I won't share much information on this until the actual Haste Club, so we can sort of discuss it. That's why I'm sort of keeping a bit quiet about any of the news. I thought this was a good one to share just because, look, I read it and it was just off the top of my head. I want to share it with you guys because I haven't actually gone through it with Chris. Gotcha. See you at the next one. Thanks a bunch. Julie, as always, pleasure, my guy. Julie, you actually should call in. Trust me, I'm going to build this army of female creators. I think you guys would do amazing. Do you know what would be amazing? If we could have like a Rocket Lab ladies podcast. that'd be insane. Like, I actually think you guys could do amazing. Like, if we headed it, if like running it, we had Star Trek Girl. And like the likes of Julie, June, Olga, any of you guys want to call in and you could be part of the staple community as part of that, then I think it'd be mad to have a podcast where like at least someone, like, I'm not from the US, someone from the US, someone from New Zealand, and then someone from somewhere else, because we can have different aspects. Then I'd also love a joint panel where it's a 50-50 split between male and female, so we can get a complete insight into everything. Guys, I have actually so much ideas when it comes to this Rocket Lab space. We're only getting started when it comes to doing these dailies. These dailies, we took it on as a project. I knew we could do this project. If anything, it was us that messed up the well, not us, me, that messed up the project early on. But no, we're gonna keep at it. But no, I have so much more ideas. Guys, then you watch any sort of sport where they have like a fan channel. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I am big into Arsenal soccer football team. And they have a fan channel called AFTV. And that's the kind of thing I want, where like it's not just myself or Chris or Dylan run this. It's like run by the community themselves, where like you guys can all get involved and you can grow yourselves. You could end up being bigger than the Haste Club themselves. But it's a wild pipe dream, but it's something I'd really like to do. Julie, I missed that. Did you say you had a 50-50 male females in Rocket Lab Club in New Zealand? No, sorry, Julie. What I was saying is I would love to create like different like podcasts. So I'd love to have one where it was, say, one guy from the US, then like myself is in Europe, then we could have one in New Zealand and one somewhere else. Or I would love a 50-50 male-female split. Just because I think you guys have such information, and I think in the investing space, the females aren't represented enough. I really want there to be a lot more female creators out there. And I want to open the door to any of you guys. Some of you have called in already, and as Chris was saying, I think people realize after they call in, it's not actually as bad as you think. It's just like speaking on the phone, or it's just like speaking over FaceTime. I think people think it's a little bit mad, when that red light goes on and it's like lights, camera, action. No, it's nothing like that at all. I promise you, first time you ever stream, it's you hit the button, you're like, sugar, I'm live now, everyone's watching me. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Hard to find women investors, they're much needed. Completely agree with you, Julie. I do think they're out there, and I do think we will find them. You girls are doing absolutely amazing in this space. The insight you provide, you're here every day. I just think if any of you want to call in, we will do our utmost. Here we go.
Of our mission for the Mountain God Guards. We are preparing to deploy the QPS SAR-11 satellite to a 575-kilometer circular Earth orbit for SAR Earth Imaging Company, IQPS. Now, Electron lifted off about 40 or so minutes ago from Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1 in New Zealand at 3:31 a.m. local time and has performed nominally on this mission so far. Now, after the kick stage was separated to its transfer orbit with the IQPS satellite, the mission entered a coast phase around Earth for about 40 minutes or so. Now, about 2 minutes ago, the Curie engine on the kick stage ignited to course correct the mission to the circular orbit that we need. And all was nominal there for Curie startup and shutdown, so we are just moments away for the QPS SAR-11 satellite to be deployed. So let's tune in now to Mission Control and listen into the final few moments of the mission.
Payload separation, QPS, SAR 11 confirmed.
Great call out there from Mission Control. That is payload deployment confirmed and mission success for Electron. And welcome to orbit QPS SAR 11. Now, congratulations to the whole team at IQPS, another bird in the sky for your constellation. And once again, congratulations to the Rocket Lab team on another successful launch, because that is 66 Electron launches in total now, and our 8th mission of the year, with our next Electron mission less than 2 weeks away from Launch Complex 1 again. So stay tuned on our socials to learn more about that next mission in the coming days. It feels good to be stepping up the cadence and kicking goals with Electron. So thanks again for tuning in. And until next time, this is Rocket Lab Mission Control signing off.
And guys, that's it. 66 successful missions. Look, it just seems like another day at the office, doesn't it? Next mission in the coming days, I like it. And that's the thing. At the moment, they are just running up on the cadence. Francisco, thank you, brother, for being here. As always, Haste Club will always live stream any of these launches. We're going to be live from Wallops. Will I make an appearance? It's hard to say at the moment. I need a more or less a specific date that we're going to meet up, and then I can look at flights. But guys, look, I'm sure you'll have a great time without me if I can't get there. Guys, can you do one thing for me, please, before I go? Please, if you haven't, sign in on YouTube. Jump in to the Hustle Brothers and bang that subscribe button. Also, make sure you've joined the Haste Club on X. I'm going to be posting within the next hour or two when our live stream's going live tonight. But again, from me, thank you so much for reaching out when I wasn't here, and it was just insane going through all the messages when I came back. But my name's Liam. I'm from the Hustle Brothers, but I'm doing this in collaboration with the Haste Club. This was a successful 66 Electron mission. Until tonight, guys, I'll see you then.